Welcome back, Super Friends. Today we are going to learn about numerical patterns. What you'll need is your math notebook or folder, pencil to write with, and don't forget that super brain of yours. Stay tuned for the video. All right, Super Friends, we are going to be dealing with numerical patterns. What that means is that we're dealing with numbers that repeat a specific pattern. So they might tell us to add 1 to each previous number, or they might tell us to multiply 3 to each previous number in order to get the next number that we're dealing with in the term, but that's what we're dealing with today. So of course you'll need to write down what you see, especially your questions, and then we'll solve them together. But I'm going to give us a little practice of what we're doing just so we can get the idea. So for this problem, we see we have a table, we see we have an X on the top row, a Y on the bottom row, and then for each column, we see that they're terms. So we have terms 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now the question says, or the instructions say, X starts at 2 and adds 4 to the previous number. So that means that whatever we're doing for X, we're going to add 4 to the previous number. So if I add 4 to this, what does it give me? 2 plus 4 is 6, then add 4 to that. What does that give me? 6 plus 4 is 10, add 4 to that. 10 plus 4 is 14, add 4 to that. 14 plus 4 is 18. And then we're done because we filled out all of our terms. Now, for Y, it says Y starts at 4 and multiply 3 to the previous term. So, okay, if we're trying to get term 2, we look at the previous term, which is term 1, and we multiply 3, it says. Okay, multiply 3. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 3 to get term 3 is 36 because I know my 3's facts and I know my 12's facts. 36 times 3, that's going to be a big one. That's going to give me 18, regroup. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. So that's 108. And then times 3 again. That's going to give me 24, regroup. 0 times 3 is 0, plus 2 is 2. And then 3 times 1 is 3. So that's how we got all of our answers for our terms. Now, this was actually doing the math. The question is going to ask you certain questions like, oh, what's the point of the fourth term? Or which term are the numbers the same? They're going to ask you specific questions like that. But this is just a practice on how to get these answers. Sorry, I forgot to say that you times 3 here. All right, let's go down to our first example. Okay, first example says, Kevin uses terms from 2 patterns to form ordered pairs on the coordinate grid. The rule for X is add 2 to the previous term and starts at 1. The rule for Y is add 3 to the previous term and starts at 1. Which ordered pair would Kevin plot? So we're trying to see which of these options is in our table. So I like to make my table like how I did up there. And we start at 1 for both. But for X, we're going to do what? Add 2. And then for Y, we're going to do what? Add 3. Okay, so add 3 down here, add 2 up here. I'm going to start with my Y's. I meant my X's because X comes first. 1 plus 2 is 3. Plus 2 is 5. Plus 2 is 7. Plus 2 is 9. Plus 2 is 11. Okay, I'm just going to stop there because that's where I ran out of space. Sometimes you might have to keep going, but usually it's around term 5 or term 6 that you can stop. Now let's do for the Y. We start at 1 because that's what it told us, and then we add 3. So 1 plus 3 is 4. Add 3 to that. 4 plus 3 is 7. Add 3 to that. 7 plus 3 is 10. Add 3 to that. 10 plus 3 is 13. Add 3 to that. 13 plus 3 is 16. And I'm going to stop there. So which one of these points is what he can plot. Oh, I see. Okay, so which points could he plot? So do we see A? Do we see 5 for X and then 10 for Y? Let's look at the front. No, we see 5 and 7, so that won't work. Do we see 7 and 7? No, we see 5 and 7 or 7 and 10, so that won't work. Do we see 7 and 10? Yes, we do. That's this term right here. So let's put a question mark. Do we see 5 and 9? No, we don't. We see 5 and 7. So our answer is C. That's the answer that we see in our plot. It's this one. And you see that the X goes first, Y is second. So the X was 7, the Y was 10. That's what we had there. Let's go to the second example. All right, obviously pause the video so that you can write down what you see for the question. This one, thankfully, they gave us the tables for us, so we just plug in for each thing. So it says the table below shows the first term of patterns with 2 different rules. Rule A is add 13 and starts at 9. Rule B is add 15 and starts at 1. For which term is rule A's number equal to rule B's number? So this one we have to find the same number for both rules. So we have to see if it's in the second term, third term, fourth term, fifth term. So let's go ahead and get started. So rule A says add 13. That's going to be 2, regroup, 22. So that's going to be 22. Add 13 again. Plus 13. That's 5, 35. 35, add 13 again. 35 plus 13. That is 8. That's 48. Add 13 again. So as you can see, the pattern is we're adding 13. So 11, regroup. That is 6. So 61. Okay, now let's go to the second rule, or rule B, I mean. So you add 15 to each thing. So add 15, that equals 16. Add 15. What does that equal? Sorry, I'm writing it too big. So this is 16. Add 15 to it. 16 plus 15 gives me 31. So this is 31. Add 15 to it. All right, so add 31 plus 15. That gives me 6, 46. Okay, then add 15 again for the last one. What is that going to give me? 46 plus 15. It gives me another 1. Regroup. That's 61. Okay, so this answer is 61. Which term has the same answers? Is it the first term? No, because that says 9 and 1. Is it the second term? No, because that says 22 and 16. Is it the third? No, that says 35 and 31. Fourth? No, 48, 46. Fifth term says 61 and 61. So which one is it that has the same? 61 and 61. So there's our answer. So far you see it tells us what to do. So this is not really too hard of thinking. The most we have to do is like, how do you add 13 again? How do you add 15 again? That's really it. But that's how you are solving these problems. You're basically just doing what it says.